Hello, welcome back. It is time to begin part 2 of analyzing Citrus versus Timeless. Yes, I may have spent 2 hours reviewing a sub 20-minute map, and hopefully this one will be a little more brisk. We see the same exact team setups. We see Citrus starting on defense here. And my guess is we'll see Citrus probably branch into something pretty close to their default setup that they used on OWCS. So they have their Orisa and Kiri connected. It's a little interesting that they have the Lucio playing on the Orisa instead of the Soj. My guess here, so first of all, you do note that they have the Tracer here and the Orisa here is kind of the two prongs of their front line. And normally, I feel like you could have your Sojourn either. Maybe they must feel like this is too easy, like Javelin or something, or like Lethal just wants the open space more in the crossfire from his Orisa. Because Tracer doesn't actually provide that much crossfire until these people are closer. Um, Usually, though, you would think that you'd want the Lucio kind of more hanging out around here. But maybe they're worried about Rocket needing to be marked. But I feel like Zeb could just kite back to right here and play this corner, like in this mini room, and he's probably reasonably happy with that. It's hard to say. If they were that worried though about Rocket going this way, then it almost makes me feel like Tap should probably have just been playing on point and just blink towards wherever they see Rocket heading to mark, and then have Soj Lucio go to the other side. Yeah, so Tap does start to try and mark that. So they're very specifically. Sorry for all the parakeet chirping. That's just the way I roll. Tap is very specifically looking to mark Rocket this entire series, I think. So we do see Seonjin instead of Chopper. I forgot to mention that. That is one change that we do see. So Zeb rotates to meet Riker. Tap is still marking the angle. I do wonder though. His recall got forced pretty early. This is a little aggressive from Tap. He's trying to mark this, but Seonjin isn't actually like on the angle exactly yet. So if we talk about once again that principle of doing things together at the same time, which is so key, Top is very committed. Zeb not so much. Lethal very, very not so much. Neutral is kind of neutral. I kind of wish he was here inside this room instead of out here where he's maybe a little more liable to get hit by a javelin or something. But Tap is kind of committing really heavy onto this when honestly Seonjin isn't that aggressively playing that aggressively, and Citrus isn't playing that aggressively either. And like if you're going with aggressive marking, it better be because your team is going really aggressive or the enemy team is going aggressive, because those are the only two situations where you don't really have a choice. So that's recall burned. Now if Timeless is smart, they should be able to just kind of stuff onto point here. Because if they recognize, well, Tap isn't marking this anymore, they can kind of just run at this section of the map on the opposite side while knowing that there's nobody really coming in from the X Factor here. And now that it's ironically, now that Lethal and Jacob are peeling out this way, I think even more so the Citrus can just afford to press alongside here because Tap can't afford to mark this. So they just need to recognize basically which side is left unmarked and run it down. Well, really, no, let me rephrase that. No matter which side Lethal is on, Citrus feels comfortable going here because Tracer's taken out of the equation. So either everybody is essentially in front of them, or this side is weaker because this dude is out swinging. So unless Lethal goes for a really aggressive angle, Citrus has a pretty reasonable advantage, or Timeless has a pretty reasonable advantage here over Citrus. Yeah, see, like this has turned into such an awkward situation for Citrus compared to Timeless, and especially right right here. Note how Riker and Rocket both peel out along the sides of the map. Both of them here are very capable of clearing out this section and essentially double teaming it. So because Rocket is peeling out this way, it actually prevents these guys from trying to anchor here, and instead they're forced on top of their Soj Lucio, which actually makes this side of the map so much safer and easier for red team to use. It's kind of that counter rotation pattern that we saw instead of the matched rotation. So Zeb especially being javelined there makes it super easy for red to just take control of the point. And now what would need to happen here is first of all, Tap is kind of not in a very relevant angle right now, but I think he's still maybe down recall for a couple seconds, yeah. More importantly, Lethal here, it's basically all on him to, make a play here, but he just wasn't quite ready to like look for the rail, and Seonjin just has his number. And that's kind of tough because Lethal wasn't in a bad position. He looked for the right thing, which is he needs to push back against this side of the map. But unfortunately, he just had the rug pulled out under him and he wasn't quite ready. And also, he just has slightly less support because Opener is over here with Seonjin. And meanwhile, sorry, Jacob is over here like doing whatever, just shooting Riker, which just isn't that valuable compared to being over here and able to help with this duel matchup. So Lethal just gets melted, and this seals the deal because at this point, even if Citrus turns around, like there's no way that Zeb, especially because check out how Opener immediately goes in for the aggressive angle, and this is actually really nicely played, I think, from Opener. Um, Riker goes down, took a little too much poke damage there, or maybe CJ disconnected. Yeah, he just kind of disconnected because he was looking at Seonjin there. This is kind of one of those situations of like, I think Riker is maybe just in a little too deep. Like, this was all good. But I think like right there, I don't think he's really gaining anything from walking further in on this dude. I think he can literally just stand right here. And then he keeps LS with his Curie. Uh, and like we have a backboard here. There's no way that like Zeb is like, we don't really care about necessarily killing him. We just really care about getting him away from the point and getting the control of the objective. Because controlling the objective over time is what wins the match. Yeah, so that just feels kind of sloppy from Riker. But Seonju and Opener are like in beautiful positioning to just clean this up. Same with Rocket. So like this is super comfortable from Timeless. I really dislike going for close holds here. I just don't think the map actually lends to it that well, especially going out like this. I think this is really, really awkward because this isn't really an angle until you like push through the gate. And this is an angle. So I like Tap should be here probably if anywhere. But it's so easy for these guys to just kite back and not really care about what blue team is doing. I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. Maybe I'm missing something, but I think this is kind of a poor call. Because I think at the very least, I actually prefer having the gate open and playing for that. Because I think having your tank anchor here, your tracer anchor here, and your Soj playing in here with Lucio, and then Kiri like here, I think that's a more robust setup for controlling anything close than like going through here. Because you see Zeb walking up, and it's like, well, dude, where is he gonna stabilize, man? Like, there's nowhere, there's no cover, man. Like, he's gonna get farmed by Riker, farmed by Rocket. Lethal and Jacob find like a good solid angle here, and they should get the pick on Seonjun here. Yeah, like, and Tap does a good job finishing that. Like Zeb, dude, is just taking so much damage. Rocket hits like a nice. This should be nice from Rocket, I think. Farm setup. That was pretty good. I'm curious if it was necessary. I wonder if instead of hitting the blinks through there, no, that would have been too far of distance. If he couldn't have gone around. Yeah, no, I'll give it to him. I think that was probably a clever play, especially because here I think he went in knowing that A, there's a very high chance of him getting a good stick. B, that they had Suzu out. C, that he doesn't really need the uptime. Like he goes in knowing that he's going to use recall there, and I'm much happier with that, like with the knowledge that you're going to use recall, than just like going in without a plan and just having to recall and like doing nothing with it. That was very reasonable, and it looks like CJ hit some good cleanup there too. All right, now the real question is how they control the point. I Okay, this maybe sounds atrocious, but I would kind of rather they just have Kiri on point and just TP up when the fight starts to actually happen. Because normally I would rather have Lucio on the point here, because Tracer is obviously the best on paper to be pushing the cart, but she also has the least vertical mobility, and I think it's just really unpleasant to have the idea of taking a 4v5 here, even if you have positioning advantage. Um, And I think if you have your Curie down here and you just forfeit the cart, I think you would get better results by just having her TP up and, use rush or whatever when the fight's actually starting and when you like go in to confirm kills, than trying to kind of just push it while things are happening. And if the enemy team doesn't engage, you know, Curie just keeps pushing. I don't know, maybe that's a throw. Maybe that's a troll. Rocket down there is probably fine. It's just really kind of ugly. I think so if he blinks to here, no, there's no way that, like, because he would still have to, a triple blink here might get him back up top, but that's still not pleasant. And that would be a waste of time probably. Yeah, no. So, like, the thing is though too, if you're gonna take this 5v4, or 4v5 rather, you need to be set up like a lot more decisively than this. Like, I don't think Seonjun wants this position. I think that's good. But I think Riker maybe needs to be like literally in the stairwell. No. Could he be here? No. The problem is where we would put CJ. I feel like CJ, no matter what, ends up really uncomfortable here. This might sound super troll. I would kind of prefer maybe if Riker was like playing here, and then if they had set up CJ just like out here, because then CJ is getting some crossfire there and healing and like pretty good LOS, and has some good TP options to either Xianjun or Riker if like absolutely critical. Pretty clear Suzu opportunities. Like even a Suzu onto here wouldn't be that hard for a player of CJ's level. And that, more importantly, keeps Riker and Seonjun from being stacked on top of each other. And if Seonjun gets pushed, he should be able to just hop over to Riker or hop down, slide over to stack on CJ, and that should be pretty comfortable and still gives them pretty good leverage over the cart. That might be the play. Because as it stands, all of these guys are straight in front of these guys, and if you're taking a hallway Overwatch fight where just everybody is in front of everybody, you know, staring down the hallway, the team with 5 players will pretty much always, almost always win. Unless there's like a huge skill discrepancy, huge ult advantage discrepancy. Like look at Tap blinking out here, how much more pressure that puts on Riker compared to Zub. I think this rush too is really. I wonder, did CJ rush first?
Under my protection.
Yeah, he rushed. He rushed first. I think this is really bad. Cause like you look at this and honestly, Citrus could have just kited it out and like literally just not cared at all. And maybe that's troll. Maybe CJ read or something, and he's like, well, I'm gonna hit the read that if we can just force them out and keep them at bay, that's gonna be valuable enough to be worth a rush. I think Citrus probably should have just kited this. They are literally not committed at all, and Seonjin has basically zero pursuit here, and yeah, no, just kind of icky. This is a pretty good counter rush though too, and like you look at this, and like Seonjin is in a terrible spot, and just taking they're all taking crossfire from Zeb. It's just really nasty. Yeah, we've dumped 2 ults and 3 ults versus 2 ults so far. CJ goes down. Yeah, so they've got.
This ends now.
I don't like Seonjin using his ult there. I think that's pretty wasteful. I think that's pretty wasteful from Zeb too. Might be just like,
This ends
you know,
now.
a personal vendetta there or something. So once again, though, like CJ's up here. I wonder if he could have been crouching here or like a little further back to like still heal him, but like, you know, be a little more pulled back to not be like, you know, eating quite that much damage. I don't know if he has LOS from all the way back here, but this would probably be ideal if he could just stand here in a place like where he could totally LOS everyone. We go for the Risa ult. Seonjin does land a nice Soji there. I was curious if he was going to put it in the Risa ult, but that's probably better since the Risa ult didn't catch anything. It's just kind of feels like a mess though. Because reasonably you can't expect to win this fight. So it makes me wonder, why would we want to commit 4 ults on a fight that we know we're gonna lose at some point, unless something goes like really wrong, because we're taking it at a 4v5, just like from a pure statistical standpoint, it's a much higher chance that blue wins this fight. Because we're going to need ults like to break this positioning advantage, because they're going to be super entrenched here, and it's going to be so hard to push the cart in the next fight. Like having beat an OC for that would be insane. OC a little less so because it's not very good in close quarters, or at least it's harder to use in close quarters. Let me rephrase. But yeah, and what happens with CJ here? Yeah, he just it kind of just gets walked on, so it's unlucky. And then what does Seonjun see as like an opportunity? See like,
This ends
yeah, no,
now.
he's just not thinking. It is not possible to do anything here. And then
This
Zeb, why
ends
does Zeb
now.
go for that? He just doesn't like opener. That's all I can think of. Or just puts very low value on a result, which is fair, but I think they can definitely get more than that, especially on Orisa of Zeb's caliber. I think he's probably one of the better Orisa players out there in the grand scheme of things. It's like now you're in this like super sticky situation because your Sojourn is going to have so much less leverage over the fight, and your Tracer's going to have like so much less engagement pathings than Tap and Lethal. So now you wonder, well, gee, functionally, I don't know how Timeless could win this. I just don't. Lethal has OC, Timeless has nothing in the tank at all, except soon a pulse bomb. I genuinely think their best chance maybe would have been to rotate people up towards here and then have Rocket rotate in here as kind of chess piece to cover for that, and then try to rotate the team maybe through here while having Rocket covering here still, and then maybe kind of flip the map, because then you could end up with your Risa, Soj, Kiri all pretty safely bunkered here, and then Tracer could just double back into main after, we've made our rotation. But that still doesn't leave a very good taste in your mouth. The worst answer is just trying to go for the point, because then nothing is contesting Lethal at all. He's just free firing. Tap can mark that super easily, yeah, no.
This ends now.
I just don't even think he needed to do that.
This
This
ends
is this is
now.
literally just feels like ego to me. Because he wants the kill on Soundjun, but like it really just doesn't matter, man. Red isn't Timeless isn't doing anything. They have their hands tied. They can't touch the point, and they haven't actually postured in any way that would let them do anything yet. You might as well just keep playing the clock. I guess you can play the clock longer, and there's no reason to hold on to the ult for too long. But maybe I would like if he had maybe held on to it until we had rush, or like 90 to rush, because that would I feel like give like a little bit more of that iron grip, lockdown. And now we see Timeless do a concerted, action. They go up the stairs, which is sure. Um, and of course we see a map flip from Citrus, which is also a little weird because
This ends.
like I don't really know why Zeb would bother dropping. No, no, it's pretty like it's a cute little map flip from Timeless, but Citrus just counter rotated on the same flip. They just followed. And having Sanjin out of the fight while Lethal is in. Like, there's just not a chance of them actually winning that. Okay, so now we see the first concerted effort of 5v5 on this stage. We see it kind of occur similarly to how it was before. And Rocket and Riker did manage to get it this far. I'm a little curious why they shouldn't have let it get from here to across the bridge. I'm a little curious why Tap didn't mark that. Honestly, I feel like here, I think averting should be on this actually, or Jacob. I just don't think he's doing enough over here to matter compared to helping Tap stop the cart. We already see covering fire from lethal, so it's like fine, I guess. But okay, and like he does eventually, he's just a little delayed with it. The other kind of weird thing here is, so like right here, we hear them coming in. I don't know why Tap doesn't. No, that's fine. Never mind, it's fine. I thought his rotation was a little weird, but I don't think there's actually a way his core could have rotated to like meet the enemy team there. Oh, okay, so Zeb just gets CC'd off the card, and that's how they're able to drag it closer. So, I mean, that's a reasonably good thought from Timeless in terms of like how to play this point. But kind of the problem here now is Tap is just unaddressed as an angle, and he doesn't do much with it. Okay. Sure. I don't know if he needed to recall that. I guess he was like, spooked, but I kind of would have rather maybe he just played here, farmed a little bit, then went for a quick one back to here and just kept his recall. Because if he was up here with recall, he would be such a thorn in Timeless's side, like to just an unparalleled degree. Dude, what is Rocket doing? This is what I'm saying. Like this dude is feeding. Chilling, chilling, chilling. Like that's not like why would you like maybe there's something I'm missing. There's the pulse. Because the way I see it, he could have just blinked here and gone for the stick instead of blinking through Zeb, and it would be so much easier to land. Yeah, so he just like goes on top of Zeb when I feel like he could have just gone to here or to like into then to here. Or literally just maybe stayed patient and played the long game and played for this because we know we have OC advantage because Lethal used its OC after Xianjun by like a whole fight length. And we know we have beat advantage because we use that too. So like if we just wait for our ult spike and don't feed, we're probably fine. But yeah, we kind of just get nothing out of our pulse there. But more importantly, unless like my eyes deceived me. Like not dude, what? You can't do this. It doesn't work like this. Overwatch doesn't work like this, man. You can't just blink in between the Soj, Kiri, Lucio, and their tank and expect this to do something. Like why not blink here and mark tap instead? Like he goes for the pulse. I guess tap wasn't there yet. But like he's here. Yeah, so you see tap blink this way. Like why not just blink here, mark tap, blink here? Like that's so much better of a use of two blinks to be able to mark tap here and like ensure that we stay locked in here. Like Rocket he just tripped Like he just used all three blinks on like the most like he just trolled, man. He just trolled. That's disappointing because I know how good Rocket is as a player, and like, but he just doesn't seem to have that like awareness of not like just trying to like he's like trying to swim up a waterfall. Meanwhile, like Tap, look how much damage Tap is doing onto Riker and Seonjun from this side angle, and they just can't afford to really look at him. And then even with Zeb dead, you look at this situation, and this still doesn't look bad at all for Citrus because like Seonjin is just caught in a bad situation, like on the back foot this whole time. It gets booped. Tap and Lethal are on a crazy off angle here. They have the beat, they land it, and just once opener dies, then it's all over. Riker just needs to jump off the cliff. He's a little slow with it. Gave them, I guess they didn't get much beat charge, but like that, it just doesn't feel like Timeless had the patience that they needed there. That was like a really nice plan, and it was honestly pretty well executed for the most part. But if they had just played for that longer ult spike, I think they would just have it in their pockets. So now they'll try and do the same plan again, I'm assuming, because that's how players work, is if one plan goes pretty reasonably well, usually you'll try and do it again. No, they go down main. Surely not. This going down this way is suicide every time. You pretty much have to play for either this or this. I guess they play for this because they want to make sure that the tower is cleared off, but to me, yeah, no, this is probably their best option. Because going here would end up in the awkward situation where you're caught between Tap and Zeb pinching in here. And no matter what, that rotation would go badly. So yeah, this is probably their best option. But like, man, that just blows that we weren't able to get that prior fight because we should have had that should have been very winnable. Wasn't like, already won because Citrus responded to it really nicely too. But arguably, Timeless could have had the advantage there with the ults coming online if they just played a slower game. Yeah, okay. Like, nah, Riker's gonna bite the dust, man. Tap doesn't have to touch the last second. Lethal is
This
uncontested.
ends now.
It is over.
This ends now.
There's no way Sanjin would have to be the best shot in the world for that to matter. Oh yeah, like what? Where's neutral?
It's go time. This ends now.
Mm, yeah, that's a little troll from Zub, I think. I think this seems kind of, I don't know. I guess zoning out the OC is that valuable, but it's so hard to like really justify sacrificing your tank, even if it's to zone out an OC on a Lucio. Neutral and Zub just got like way too disconnected. Like
This ends now.
this was pretty fine and chill. This is just like a really weird setup from Citrus. I like that it's all about here, but I think it's so weird that Zeb decided to dive the back line instead of rotating around this way to meet, because he had the time to do either. And I think having your Orisa here and letting your Soja Lucio play this high ground, I think that's so much stronger. Because then your Curie can just play like in here or something, or like on here, over here, kind of just wherever. And then Tap can kind of just balance the cart duties with Zub. But yeah, Zeb just ends up in this weird situation though, because he's like
This
diving the
ends
back line and
now.
neutral just isn't, and like
This ends
it's just
now.
weird, man. But it doesn't matter because lethal is just uncontested on the high ground, and Tap is really, really damn good at marking the cart and positioning on Tracer. Like those two basically just swiped this. And I mean, that's not to discredit Neutral and Jacob. They're both great players too, but Tap and Lethal were just like untouchable that fight. This is fundamentally impossible for Timeless to get a good fight here uh, unless Citrus just like horribly isn't ready. Yeah, so that write that one off. This is stupid from Zeb. It's like that's fundamental. So the reason I say that, so if we look at their setup here, red is doubling down on this side. So we can either double down to match, but remember matching just favors whoever controls the point. So we have to double down our control into the opposite lane. Um, but right now they're kind of just playing a match, and Rocket as a result is just uncontested farming Zeb here, which obviously Zeb isn't like overly enthused about. I think Tap going up here is kind of just a waste, and I think he realizes that too, since he at least, goes down for here, which is that's more useful. Um, I would rather have him here marking Rocket though. But it's okay. Like this is fine for the most part, as long as he's ready to mark Rocket later in the fight. But like I don't know what Zeb is expecting to happen here though, because he's so far ahead and so engaged. And meanwhile Lethal is like playing really passively, honestly, and doesn't even have a rail. So like this kind of aggro you would expect to be like a thing when your Soch has rail and like calls out, hey, I have rail. Because then maybe they come in here and like hit a slide up to here or something. Or really what you would hope for is that they have rail and then duck out to this side of the map. And then him and Lucio would be here marking the tracer and like flipping the map as Orisa and Kiri pressure from here and tracer pressures from here. That would be an option. Or tracer can come from here. Orisa can come from here. Soch can kind of play here/here and just kind of mark this a little bit while coming from main. But the problem is Zeb, like you look at him, he's so overextended, and then you're like, okay, well, who else on Citrus is a threat that I need to be watching? Not really anyone. They're kind of all just like chilling, doing nothing. So this bro is just getting absolutely cooked. And then Jacob just like something, his int timer just, hit 0 here because bro saw Zeb getting cooked and he's like, okay, let's go after the Soj. And just gets like blasted because Shocker in about 3, 2, 1. Look where they are in orientation to the rest of the team. Shocker. They're on the front line. B, they're not helping anyone do anything really. So like usually you want Lucio to be adding to someone's value. Not that he can't get solo value, but rather he just passively gets value from being near others because of how his aura works. Um, and C, he has his back turned on opponents. So even if like he can't look at opener and Seonjin at the same time, and even if these guys didn't finish him, Rocket would have from the ground, and there's like nothing Jacob can do about that. So that was just really sloppy from him. And like Zeb though, even if Jacob didn't feed there, Zeb is trolling. Like he already would have been getting cooked. So here, these guys just gotta write it off as a loss, reset. Now we should see a cleaner setup from Citrus. They've been bitten once, they probably don't want to get bitten again. Nope, okay. They're doing about the same thing, but note the key difference here. Tap does peel out slightly for a soft angle on Riker here, and the rest of the team is playing up more aggressively with Zab at least. So even though this isn't great, it should be functional. Timeless, notably, just kind of caves. Riker is chilling. I don't like Seonjun, man. I'm not seeing it. Like I feel like he should have rail by now, first of all. And he just doesn't. Or does he fire it early? No, he fires it early. Dude, like that's so that he's literally like that's trolling the lobby, man. Like, because if he has rail here, I know he'll have it pretty quickly here. But like, and like yeah, Lethal doesn't have his rail either. It's just poor, man. Because comparatively, if he slides out this way with a rail, this is so much more dangerous than that shot that he went for earlier. Because even though it's harder to hit the people with the rail from this angle, the fact is Rocket cannot afford to come, or sorry, Tap can't afford to come mark him very easily because he has rail. So he's able to just pump damage into Zeb from this angle and just decimate them. The fact that he's just like chilling here behind Riker, I think that's like really bad, honestly, really sloppy looking. Um, Rocket is probably fine as long as he blinks out here to adjust Tap and kind of keep him tucked in. Once again, I'm not a big fan of how Citrus is playing this either, but they're a little bit more all engaged compared to like Riker is like really in, while Seonjun can't really do anything, and that's like a concern to me. Especially the way that Riker is playing like in front of this for some reason. Like, is he just not aware of it? Because he's just like constantly breaking LOS with CJ and making CJ's life so much harder. This is good though. I like that he tucks into the side here. It's good LOS with CJ, good cooldowns, and I like that Rocket swaps over here. This is really, really cleanly set up from Timeless. And because Riker gets over here, Seonjun now is effectively on an angle, and Lethal should get crunched for trying to touch point, yeah. Now, the unfortunate thing is Riker does go down, and this makes me wonder what my boy CJ was doing, and if there's anything he could have done. Probably not. So what happened then with Riker's cooldowns? He's just eating too much damage. It's like this leads me to wonder if we look at this on like a real micro level. We're doing a lot of damage here, but like this damage isn't doing anything. This isn't going to lead to kills ever. So we're just building ult charge, but they're building ults off of our ult charge, so it doesn't really make a difference. It's all just net even. But like, I wonder why we couldn't just be holding this right now, like right here, like a little further to the right. I don't like, we still keep all the LOS we want on point. CJ could like play from down here, he could play from in here, it doesn't really matter. Or he could even like rotate through here if he wanted. Actually, that's probably worse. Play from up here, I guess, too. But like, you get my point. There's lots of options. But like, he just doesn't care. Because like the fact that so he uses the spin, great, fine, sure. And they both have to fortify. But then after that sequence, they both need to stabilize. So that's what I don't get is why there isn't that stabilization. Because he does have to spin there. I just, like this javelin, I'm not a big fan of that. I would have rather he just stopped, like held here for a second or something. or like went for like a spirit on top. Maybe he just didn't know the top was there. It just feels kind of sloppy from Riker, and the setup, this whole setup from Timeless isn't super inspiring between the Risa and the like just the Risa anchoring point isn't feeling like I'm not feeling the vision on that. I like how Rocket complemented it, and I like Riker going in this direction in general because Seonjun was just, you know, sitting in main. But I think he needed to make like something to keep that more stable, and that just wasn't it. And that's why a lot of the times I want to note this is why a lot of times you just have your Risa go here. It's easier to have this as a stable position because even if the tracer comes through here, it's like more in your vision, and you could just kind of duck back here and have your Curie in here, and it's like all super chilly. She has a mini, you have a mini. Your tracer marks things out here or over here, and then you had to have your Soj controlling this angle, and it's like way more comfy. And that's why you usually wouldn't have your tank stabilized on this corner because this thing, this hole can make it really uncomfortable really fast if things go poorly. And additionally, the other reason people don't tend to do that is because even if tap didn't go like blink into here, he could have blinked here, and that's pretty much equally bad. So Riker goes down. It's pretty much sunk.
Objective lost. Stop the payload.
Time, let's take the feeder fight. Or okay, never mind. They hold back. Good for them. Riker is getting pulled over here. This is pointless. Like that's not his job. His job is to mark this side of the map. This should be Rocket's job. But like Rocket is like doing who knows what. And the reason you would have your Tracer here and your Risa here is because it gives your Curie more like long, nice, clean LOS and good cover compared to like if your Risa's here, this is the only option for your Curie, and the sightlines are so much more limited because you can't play out here. You're more likely to take poke because you're way more exposed, and you don't have like good angles on your Risa. This doesn't really work because it's too harsh of an angle. This doesn't really work. This can kind of vaguely work, but it's really tenuous, so I don't recommend it. I would so much rather have Rocket like playing to surf over this side of the map and like just kind of lord over it, and then have Riker here than this like strange flipped around thing.
This ends now.
Yeah, Riker's just eating it, man. And they do it now, but it's like kind of late. Like I don't know why Seonjin drops.
Railgun powered and ready to fire.
Like so first of all, like I don't know why he's like out here and not in here. Like to me this just seems almost strictly better. Like I know this feels like you know, feel the air, the wind in your hair, and like you get more sight, but like you don't need more sight. You just need that sight, you know, onto lethal, or like their squishies.
Disrupting. This
Tap is in a nice spot, really clean position that makes him really obnoxious to deal with. Yeah, Rocket does a good job marking it.
this ends now.
This OC is too early.
This ends now.
That's, yeah, no, man, there's just, you don't have the angle. You're not engaged enough. If you're gonna do this, at this point, you just gotta like slide into here and ego it or something, because like you're not gonna get anything out of that, man. Admittedly, Lethal does do a pretty good job at making it, relatively dangerous, but he's just not engaged enough for like anybody to actually be threatened by the OC. Now, Riker though,
And
yeah, Zeb just ends his Terra search a little too, like a little earlier, so he just wins the play. But we don't have Suzu because we used it on something earlier. What did we use it on?
disrupting. This ends
Pulse.
now.
Yeah, fair enough.
This ends now.
Tyler should probably just die on cart here. This is a really bad rush. I don't think that can translate into anything. Yeah, that's just like a total waste. I just don't know why Riker would bother dropping here. Because I don't see the critical benefit of stopping the cart here versus stopping the cart here. To me, that is more or less functionally the same. And I would rather have Riker like up here able to poke at this rotation and like stuff people here. Or like be ready to anchor than down there. I would rather they just wait for Rocket to come back and like call it a day. And like the fact that like we just give up this high ground is just really moronic, I think, to me. I think that's really poorly handled. Especially because like yeah, I don't know. Like the fact that Riker's like just running across the world here with opener to chase an Orisa when those guys are literally rotating up to where they were. I don't think this chasing of them gives you any advantage over what you had before. To me, it just looks like a waste of an ult and waste of cooldowns. And now you just actively have worse positioning than before. Yeah, no. Like that rush, getting that zoned out is just so much more value than CJ's rush. Nice spear onto Jacob. Rocket contested that way too early, but I guess fair enough. Zeb gets cooked. It's okay because Arisa's still up. Oh wait, but Lethal is on a really nice angle. Yeah, Xianjin kind of fed there. I think, I don't really think there's a point to him pushing this far up. He at the very least shouldn't have slid there. He should have just stayed down here farming. I think that would have been way better. Maybe it's a miss input. Then how does Riker die? No, man, you can't afford to go in here. No, you can't afford to use your cooldown to chase. An opener dies too. Yeah, no, it just feels like Timeless just kind of panicked. because they saw the cart getting pushed and they just kind of int onto the point and then get crossfired by lethal and tap.
This ends
And
now.
this is just unwinnable for Timeless. They don't have time to set up
This
anything.
ends.
That bites. So we still see problems with the Risa setup. Still see problems a little bit with the Tracer and orientation to that Risa positioning and like having clean, decisive setups for how they want to control their lanes. And a little bit of miscellaneous issues. We'll see if I get around to 3. Maybe or maybe won't